and welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl. Our show is about transformation in wealth on all levels, whether it's in relationships, money, assets, nature, spirituality, and especially love. There is wealth in all of these areas. It's time to wake up and save yourself, our humanity, and planet. Unconditional love is given freely and expects nothing in return, yet reaps great rewards. It opens the door to unlimited possibilities. Remember, there is more than enough money circulating on this planet for 7 billion of us to have $8 to $10 million apiece in the bank. And only 3% of the population have the lion's share of this wealth. So wake up to knowing that you can have more by letting go of fear. There is more wealth than just dollars and cents. Recently, I've been researching more about information about chemtrails, which was brought to my acute attention back in December. I see them almost every day when I look up. And if we don't collectively take control of what the large few in the US, China, and Russia are doing to control our weather worldwide, our Earth and humanity are in great jeopardy. I will expand on this in another episode, and this might get you thinking about this phenomena. I'd like to share something funny. A farmer was helping one of his cows give birth when he noticed his 4-year-old son was standing at the fence, soaking in the whole event. The man thought to himself, "Great, he's 4, and I'm going to have to start explaining the birds and the bees. No need to jump the gun. I'll just let him ask, and I'll answer." After everything was over, the man walked over to the son and said, "Well, son, do you have any questions?" "Just one," gasped the wide-eyed lad. "How fast was that calf going when he hit the cow?" Our guest this evening is Mark Bradlee. This is the first segment of the two-part segment with Mark Bradlee. Mark Bradlee, a driven leader who not only motivated and led talented sales and marketing teams for industry giants like Atari and Nintendo, he also played a key role in 8 startups and early-stage firms, as well as developed and launched breakthrough products. Mark is recognized as a gifted strategic and tactical thinker, as well as a visionary, which are great ingredients for a successful CEO. Mark's credentials include a BS in marketing and management from Boston College. Mark is the CEO of CoupleWise. CoupleWise is a science-based and therapeutically effective web-based application to help couples have stronger, happier relationships. CoupleWise is for couples at virtually any level of satisfaction or stage in their relationship, and especially for couples unwilling or financially unable to afford a therapist. We need this method to help get and retain healthy communication skills between couples, and this is not gender specific, by using this mode of healing. Welcome.
Thank you.
Mark, thank you for coming and taking the opportunity and invitation to come here to talk about what your involvement is and about CoupleWise. I gave a little bit of an intro to it, but having met one of your team players, I thought this would be a great way to talk about this, to also make this available to the viewers. So please tell me about yourself, where you're from, and how you got involved with CoupleWise.
Well, that's a long story, but I'll give you the short
right.
version.
We have 45 minutes or so.
I am originally from Boston, and very much still in love with everything about Boston, except living in California beats it 9 ways to Sunday. So
I've heard that many times.
I'm a transplant and will be here. I've done many things. I've started 8 different companies. I've been in the Bay Area since 1980. And about October, I came across relationship technologies, and I thought, that's an interesting, and read about CoupleWise, and I thought, wow, that's really interesting. A side light is about 25 years into my marriage, I came home one day and found out that my wife was so unhappy that she wanted a divorce, but we went through some couples counseling, had our therapist that was absolutely fabulous, and we made it back out the other side, and we will be married 43 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Coming this April. Thank you.
It does take work.
It does, and you just don't know. There are so many stress points in a marriage that can get you, and so few people will actually go to a therapist. So when I saw this CoupleWise and I went to the website, it was like deja vu. I was just amazed at the things that we had learned that were incorporated in the site, and thought to myself, wow, this could be really fantastic, not only from the perspective of a business, but when you consider there's a 41% divorce rate in this country.
Isn't it more than that, or is it
41%,
41?
65% of second marriages.
Oh, okay, wow.
So it could be a great legacy company in terms of, what I end up contributing.
Well, I applaud you for even coming on and talking about it, because, and as things shifted in the original plan, I'm really glad that you're here, because I think it's wonderful to hear it from a man, because women are always the ones that are into the relationship healing and fixing and everything, and they're always talking, etc., even amongst themselves. So thank you for coming on and talking about this.
Well, it's important, and it's one of the challenges that we see with CoupleWise. Is you're right. We fully expect that about 3/4 of the people who come to the site initially will be women.
Yeah, yeah.
And we expect that there will be a challenge to get men to come to the site.
How did you figure 3/4%?
It's just a guess.
Okay.
But
Okay. I just.
it's just because we feel that they'll be the ones searching for ways to make the relationship better.
Right.
And
yeah.
so,
and that probably depends also on the age. Maybe?
Probably, but not so much. I think it's just, one of the challenges that we have and that we're addressing is helping the women convince and give reasons and rationale to the men to get engaged in CoupleWise.
So please give me an example of what that looks like.
Well, what we do is we try to help with advice from therapists, with advice from other women, with advice from men who have come on the site. So it's something that will continue to evolve as we get up and we get more people on the site. So it's not that everything is there, because it's not.
Right.
In fact, an interesting part of our process was when I was meeting with Gary Crane, who invented it. The last thing that I said to him before accepting the CEO position was, I said, you've done an incredible job. You've bootstrapped this, and what you've done is incredible.
Yes. And it's also incredible that he's hired the right people in the right places.
Well, I was the people other than 2 programmers, part-time programmers in Poland. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So I said, but you're only less than halfway there. Yeah. And he paused for a minute and he said, well, what exactly do you mean? I said, well, I think that, there needs to be major improvements to the flow, to the instructions, to many aspects of it. But the core is there.
Yeah.
And that is substantiated by the fact that people like Dr. Harville Hendricks and Dr. John Gray.
Which I think that he's been on my show, and he's coming on again in May.
They have all seen the early version of CoupleWise and written extremely nice testimonials and reports on what they saw and how much they thought it was a great product. And I can only say that if they think that it was a great product in the state that they've seen it, they will be floored in 6 to 9 months with
Where it's
where it is going, because it'll be so much better.
Yeah, what makes it really the cutting edge?
You know, cutting edge, I don't
mean,
know that it,
I don't know
it's-
if that's the right terminology, but what makes it that it'll really work for couples?
I think it's the only web application, and it will be mobile, that will engage you, will actually...
So it's interactive, because I haven't had a chance to really
Yes.
interact with it, because that to me is so important to be able to...
Yeah. Everything else out there is you go, you look, you read, you watch video.
Yeah.
What we feel is important is engaging the couple, getting them to talk, getting them to understand that you have to put time into a relationship. It's ironic that in a time frame in history when communications devices are at unprecedented,
yes.
that communication, face-to-face talking, is at an all-time low.
And I'm really nervous about the younger generation being able to communicate verbally.
Absolutely.
With doing this all the time. I mean, I'm really nervous about it. It's coming to my attention more and more.
And I think it's a valid concern, because you're right. Texting, and you see kids sitting side by side texting each other. Well, hello.
That's work. It's like losing the humanity.
Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do, is to explain why it's important to put down all the devices and to talk face to face, and to carve out 10 minutes in the morning, carve out a half an hour in the evening, but devote time to the relationship.
Yeah, become a routine,
exactly.
a habitual thing.
Because you have routines for everything else, and you devote time to everything else.
Right.
What's the most important thing in your life?
Right.
It's that relationship.
Yes. And I know that's harder for men because of, the way you've been raised, we've been raised, and it's shifting exponentially as time goes on now. But that wasn't men were driven to make the money and bring the money home.
Yes.
But that's evolved so differently now. So
definitely,
it's and it's going to save men too, to be able to engage and deal with their heart issues, with their emotional issues, instead of just their head, driving for success.
Right.
And so that's going to save them from all the heart attacks that happen out there. And
well, it does. I mean, one of the things that we're looking at is the fact that in a relationship, any discord creates stress.
Yeah.
And the medical community knows full well that stress is one of the worst things for your health.
Yes. And sorry, but the MD, Masters of Denial,
Yeah.
for their own situation.
Absolutely. And so when you understand that you can alleviate a lot of that stress, and then, as I said, we've got tools within CoupleWise where you talk about your needs. And it's shocking how many people don't have any idea how their partner feels about certain things, feels about how their needs are being satisfied or not satisfied.
Right.
So,
and it's just taking the time to talk about it. And
you need a format.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's too big a topic to get your head around without having some kind of guidelines, some kind of pathway
formula
to take you,
or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we not only provide that, and you can expand on it, but then once you've declared what your needs are, you then schedule a time to discuss your needs, your partner's needs, and you do that at your level, at your pace. So in other words, there may be things that you're relatively happy with and things that you're really unhappy with.
So you said, you said your level. What do you mean by your level?
Now, I'll give you an example. Take an easy one. Your participation in the household might be a need. So, I might say with my wife that I'm completely happy because she runs the household and the house is always clean and neat, and I couldn't ask for any more, so I'm extremely satisfied. Well, she might think, well, you don't really participate. I do a lot of it.
This is a common thing.
But I might not realize that. I might, in my mind, I'm participating because I'm out working or this or that.
Right, right.
But it doesn't matter what I think. It's her need on that level.
And I think from my own experience and also talking to other women, I think that they also need to be more assertive with their communication about that.
Well, that's what it's about.
And doing it with love and not attacking.
Well, that's the basis for all of it is compassionate and empathetic communication.
Totally.
With the non-defensive listening.
Absolutely.
Being able to listen to something, listen to a criticism, and not get defensive and not respond from a defensive mode. So,
Absolutely.
in the example, I might think I'm fine, and she might say, you're mediocre at this. You could be a lot better. You could help out. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, that's fair. Where? What would you like me to be doing that I'm not doing, or whatever?
Right.
And you make an agreement. And now I know something that I can do to increase my status on that needs level. And so that gets established. That goes into the computer.
Yeah.
And it's established. Now, 2 weeks later, she can go back to the program and she can say, you know what, he's really paid attention and he's, stepping up and taking on some new things. And she can move that bar from medium to mostly satisfied. Mm-hmm. Well, then I know that she has made a change on one of the 16 needs that she's identified.
But it would also be communicated verbally, correct?
It could. But, sometimes, because I'll tell you the flip side. Say after 2 weeks I've improved and she moves the arrow towards the great side. Right. And then a month later I revert. Mm-hmm. Well, now she moves the arrow back down and I get an alert saying, you better check the needs map, such and such a need. Right. And I see that she's not now moved that level of satisfaction down, so I know, oh, wait a second, I made a commitment. I said I was going to try to do better, and I've dropped the ball here. So I get a chance to understand that without any interaction, without any complaining, and be proactive about it to show her that I am concerned.
On that note, this is one thing I learned from John Gray, that men are very sensitive about the tone of voice that's used when communicating, especially when it's something that a woman is dissatisfied about. It's very important. Like I said, I learned this years ago from one of his books. And it's, so I can see where that would be advantageous for a man. So that a woman doesn't set it up to be so-called witchy about it, or have that tone of voice that comes across as being nagging, and it would help the male part of the receptive part of the man.
Yeah, it's all part of communication. Of course, you want to foster more face-to-face communication, but you're right. There are times when communicating that dissatisfaction, you're just not in the right place to do it.
Right. Timing is everything.
Right. And yet it needs to be done. And from the other perspective, it needs to be addressed, not swept under the carpet so that it can build and build and build.
Right. And that's when it creates the tension, and then that negative energy comes out when that happens.
It does. So that's just one part of this program. Mm-hmm. And as I said, we look at this as a program that you want to stay on and you want to manage.
Well, if you're committed to the relationship,
Yeah.
and it's working, then why wouldn't you continue?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's
and when
something. It's something like, I've learned for myself, making myself a better person, because that don't you think that the relationship you have within yourself is actually the key to having a healthy relationship with somebody else?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I just read a book, The 100 to 0, and I loved it because it rings so true that, if you give 100% and expect nothing,
That's what unconditional love is.
it is. And if you get nothing, you know that you're in the wrong place. and that may be
Because when it's natural, it just happens.
It does.
It just happens.
It does.
Yeah.
Good people can't take 100 and not give back.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so I thought the book was brilliant, and I especially liked the fact that he commented on two of my favorite coaches, Red Auerbach and John Wooden, in terms of how they coached. And it was, again, within the context of this book, and it just made so much sense.
Well, I think that unconditional love also starts within yourself. And this is what I talk about on my show, and the wealth of relationships. I mean, it isn't just money. It's not, as I say, it's not just wealth and assets and money. But if we don't have the wealth in our relationships, what is life worth living?
No,
it's not.
It's pretty empty.
Yeah, and then people wither and die. So I think this is a really good cause, and what's you're doing, and what Gary has created, I think it's marvelous, and I hope that more couples will be more aware of it, so they can engage in this.
Well, they will be, because we intend to go out and get it done right. We've got a good core team right now, and I know we can build on that. And then once we launch it, that's really, from my perspective, when the fun starts, because of the types of products that I've launched before. It's challenging, but it's a lot of fun to accept the challenge and go out there and get the awareness.
And the cause.
Yeah.
The cause is so important, and things are changing in the corporate world. I was back in the corporate world for 10 years until I started this. And, it's appalling. I mean, Bernie Madoff's a good example.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it's not just Bernie. There's
oh my God,
everywhere.
there's hundreds. It's all over the planet.
In fact, I was reading the other day about the fact that the corporate Wall Street wants you to think that the only responsibility of a corporation is to make money for the shareholders. And that's not what the country was formed on and based on. It's the employees and everything else. But Wall Street is, fostering a bad, precedent there.
And it's very greedy and gluttonous and self-prophesizing. And it has to change. It just has to change.
But I think it changes with people.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
People not accepting it.
Absolutely.
And, so hopefully, we'll start to see a change.
Well, and, moving away from those companies that, and then they'll be forced to change, So I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And so share some more stories about what CoupleWise can do.
Well, that's pretty open-ended.
That's good, though, because, some different scenarios.
Well, we think that, we look at it as you've got sites like today you have Match.com and eHarmony and the dating sites.
Yes.
Huge market. It's a $2 billion plus industry that's growing rapidly. And they take care of you from, let's say, starting to date to finding somebody, which could be 3 months, 6 months, and then what do you do for the rest of your life? So
right,
where we fit is the rest of your life.
The tools for the rest of your life.
And so we think that, you know, that we are the follow-on to that, you know, part, but not just from the dating sites. You know, the churches today have programs, couples
right.
programs that you go through before you get married.
Right, exactly.
And great programs because they're concerned about this divorce rate and they want to try to give people some tools. A lot to be said so we
I think this is absolutely invaluable to hearing this from a man. So thank you.
You're welcome. And
it all worked out the way it's supposed to work out tonight.
And we're excited about it.
And and thank you for coming and sharing. And until the next time.
Well, I look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will leave you with this. Never give up wherever you are and doing in your life. Work with integrity and have a positive attitude. First and foremost with your family and friends. First, be aware of negative thoughts and catch yourself before they come out of your mouth. Be grateful for who you are and where you have come in your life and what you have. And be grateful for your freedom and eat healthy. Good nutrition feeds the mind and your body temple. Don't forget to exercise. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer and unconditional love. Love yourself unconditionally and stop criticizing, judging, and allowing others to dominate the way you feel about yourself. Be compassionate and share your abundance and wealth with others. When fear knocks, let faith answer the door. Money is like love. It kills slowly and painfully the one who withholds it and enlivens the other who turns it on his fellow man, by Kahlil Gibran. You are what you are and where you are because of what has gone into your mind. You can change what you are and where you are by changing what goes into your mind, by Zig Ziglar. CoupleWise is looking for people wanting to be trained to be usability interviewers and directors. Interns are welcome and would like to invite and has openings for a limited group of 20 wives, husbands, and gender-friendly couples who would participate and receiving a free 1-year subscription to CoupleWise. Bye for now, until next time.